With Robert Sanchez in goal, Veltman, Duncan, Webster the central defenders, Solly March on the right, Trossard on the left, Caicedo and McAllister in the middle with Mwepu, and then Pascal Gross, who's been Brighton's top scorer so far, supporting Danny Welbeck, who comes in having scored home and away against Leicester last season. We are underway. The visitors will play from right to left. Johnny Evans booms it forward, right-footed, down the left wing, looking for Harvey Barnes, and Solly March heads it out of play for the first throw-in of the afternoon. Danny Ward is the goalkeeper for Leicester. Back four of James Justin, Wilfred Ndidi, Johnny Evans and Luke Thomas. Soumare holding in midfield with Maddison, Tielemans and Barnes ahead of him. And then the front two of Patson Daka and Iheanacho. Daka, who is due a goal, just one in his last 20 appearances for Leicester. Here is Soumare in the centre circle, holding off Danny Welbeck, releasing possession to Luke Thomas over the halfway line on the left. First touch from Harvey Barnes, infield towards Tielemans, slightly put him off his stride. Tielemans will battle hard though to win the ball back. A very firm shoulder charge, and now Leicester break into the penalty area. Low cross on the left, Soumare, and it's scored by Iheanacho. It's inside the opening minute. It's one of the quickest Premier League goals of the season. Leicester score, and Brighton have barely touched the ball, and that's how you respond when you make changes after a terrible start. Kelechi Iheanacho, on his first Premier League start of the season, scores straight from the beginning of the game.
Well, it's a great start from Leicester. It's the pressure down the left-hand side from Thomas and Tielemans that win the ball, and it's great link-up play that gets Daka into the box, and he slides it across the 6-yard box, and there is Iheanacho to tap it into an empty net. It's a poor start from Brighton, but a great start from Leicester, one that's needed.
Wow. Brendan Rodgers takes the top off a bottle of water and takes a hearty swig, a face of satisfaction. The goal inside 60 seconds. Brighton and Hove Albion 0, Leicester 1. This is now a test for a Brighton team who were beaten in midweek. Really can't start a game any worse than that. There has been a determination, a tempo to let the way Tielemans won the ball back, the way Harvey Barnes made a burst, the way the cross was delivered by Patson Daka, and the way Iheanacho finished it off. Clinical from Leicester, like the Leicester of old, just not the Leicester we've seen this season.
Exactly, it was Leicester that come out the traps, and normally it's Brighton that does that.
Right, Brighton go down, there's appeals for a penalty. Solly March inside the penalty area. It's been given a free kick as outside the box. Well, they've been like a Formula 1 car the way that Leicester have started here. Speaking of which, let's go. The opening lap of the Dutch Grand Prix, Jack Nicholls.
Max Verstappen has just taken the lead and held the lead coming down into the first corner. He got a very good getaway and manages to hold off Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc. Leclerc is in second, Sainz is in third. Hamilton tried to attack Sainz to get him into third place, wasn't able to pull it off. Lando Norris has managed to get ahead of George Russell as well, so that was a good start from him. Stroll has made a few places up as well. He's managed to get into the mix, but Max Verstappen holds the lead in the Red Bull. Leclerc second, Carlos Sainz in third, Hamilton in fourth. But by Skavissa, the W Series racer who's alongside me, it was a good start from Verstappen. Leclerc was quite close.
Yeah, he got on the line really well, and yeah, Leclerc just didn't get quite next to him enough to be able to go side by side, but I think Hamilton was quite lucky there not to lose the rear in turn one, touching Sainz.
Verstappen leads, Leclerc second, Sainz third. Full commentary on Sports Extra.
Thanks very much, and US Open Tennis follows the Formula 1 on Sports Extra today. This Brighton free kick hasn't been taken yet. Luke Thomas was booked for the challenge. It's right on the edge of the area. That was high risk from Luke Thomas. He could so easily have given away a spot kick. And now let's see what March or Gross will do. Gross flicks it. March hits it low, comes off his teammate Welbeck, and that diverts it away from the target and out for a goal kick. Brighton and Hove Albion 0, Leicester 1. Iheanacho's goal after the opening minute.
It's a great start from Leicester, it really was. High energy, high pressing, but then as soon as they scored, Danny Ward there puts his team in a real mess. It's a sloppy pass out to Thomas, who has to make a rash challenge on Solly March. The Leicester fans behind the goal are singing Danny Ward's name to give him a little bit of confidence, I think.
Leicester haven't scored in the opening minute of a Premier League game in over 5 years. And how ironic that the last time they did it was against Brighton. Shinji Okazaki scored inside the opening minute in August 2017. It's a perfect start for Brendan Rodgers' side, and boy do they need it, having begun the day bottom of the Premier League. Even if they win today, they'd only go level on points with the teams above them. Well, Brendan Rodgers will be relieved. I mean, it says so much about the early weeks of a season that you've got Brighton at the moment in the top 4. You've got Leicester at the foot of the table, and Leicester have now scored more goals this season than Brighton have. I mean, go figure.
I mean, in the opening, 5 minutes that we've had, it showed more than what they've done in the previous 5 games. That enthusiasm, that high energy, what we associate with Leicester so much from the previous seasons, and it's been there. And that clinicalness to put it across the box and to slot it home there, it was made with ease.
Iheanacho's had 1 touch. He's the man who scored the goal. Thomas clearing straight to McAllister. Here come Brighton. Mwepu tried to put it through the legs of Ndidi. He was looking for Danny Welbeck. Solly March will pick up the loose pieces here, and he looks up and spots space for Trossard wide on the left-hand side. Slightly deeper role for Trossard today. He's got support from Webster behind, and now back to the right-hand side for Brighton. And it's played by Veltman down towards the edge of the penalty area to Gross, outside the box right-hand side. Swings in the cross. Mwepu jumped, dramatically flung his head on his neck, but wasn't able to get a connection on it. McAllister 10 yards outside the box, flicks it in low, looking for Enoch Mwepu again, but Leicester able to clear away, and a big roar of out from Johnny Evans, and they all trot up to the halfway line as Brighton go back to Robert Sanchez.
Johnny Evans will be key this afternoon in terms of keeping that high line, making sure the midfield players in front of him are not dropping on the toes of the defenders, and the gaps and the distances are all linked up between top to bottom of the pitch.
5 Live for the BBC will bring you Manchester United against Arsenal. Full commentary from 4:30 here in the Premier League. This is Pascal Gross midway inside the Leicester half, onto his left boot, swings in a high cross. There's a shout for James Justin to leave it, and Danny Ward comes and collects. It's only Danny Ward's 7th ever Premier League appearance for Leicester, as he continues to fill the big gloves departed, as we've been speaking about in the build-up, by Kasper Schmeichel. Well, one of the big characters, big names in the dressing room, Jamie Vardy's been left on the bench, and so far Leicester have reacted well to that. Here they come, down the right-hand side with Iheanacho. Daka's in the middle. Tielemans arriving too. Iheanacho onto his left boot, comes across the edge of the area, shoots it in low, and Thomas doesn't even challenge for it because he knew he would have been offside if he does so. It took a deflection on the way through. It's going to go out for a corner. Corner to Leicester, who really look on it every time they come on the attack.
Great play again from Leicester. Iheanacho driving down that right-hand side, cutting in. But the most impressive thing is how many players Leicester have got on that attack in the box. 7 players there. They're committing numbers forward. Just what Brendan Rodgers would have wanted from this game.
It's been all about Leicester with the early goal. Haven't had a chance to mention that Billy Gilmore is on the bench, the new signing from Chelsea. That could prove to be a very shrewd acquisition for Graham Potter, as Brighton prepared to defend a James Maddison corner, left-hand side of the field as they come forward. Maddison raises both hands in the air as the signal to the teammates in the middle. Here it comes towards the back post, headed out as far as James Justin. He'll give it back to Maddison, who'd taken the corner on the left-hand side. And out comes Mwepu to challenge him, but Maddison had been in an offside position when the pass was played. And that is a good execution of a mass removal from their penalty area by the Brighton defenders. And they catch James Maddison offside. So Brighton 0, Leicester 1 here. This 2 o'clock kickoff in the sunshine at the Amex Stadium on 5 Live. Lewis Dunk brings the ball out of the back for Brighton, who didn't have a chance to settle it all in the game until they were picking it out of their own net.
Yeah, it's now down to Brighton to get a foothold in this game. We know they're going to probably dominate possession being at home. It's about breaking down this resilient Leicester team that look like they line up with a 4-4-2 stroke 4-3-3 in and out of possession.
Gross down the right-hand side, better cross off his right boot this time, and it squirts through to Trossard on the far side. He'll lob it back in. Solly March headed down and in! 2 goals in 9 minutes. 1-1 at the Amex. That's a super goal. Solly March squeezing it in from a tight angle after Pascal Gross sent it from right to left. Trossard sent it from left back into the middle, and Leicester, just when they thought they were escaping the early season doldrums, Brighton have dragged them back down again. What a start to the game here. We've not reached the 10th minute mark yet. Brighton 1, Leicester 1.
Well, Pascal Gross down this right-hand side sends a sweeping ball into the box, and it's James Justin that just gets sucked in too much and gets drawn to Danny Welbeck. That allows Trossard time to get his head up and pick Solly March out of the far post, where he tries to hit it across goal, but looks like it may take a deflection off the Leicester player into the goal.
It comes off the defender Luke Thomas, but I would imagine when they land, I haven't seen a definitive replay, I think it's going towards the net anyway from March, so it'll no doubt go down as his goal, but we'll clarify that once we get confirmation. But 10 minutes played here, both teams on the scoreboard already. This could be a very tasty game. Here come Leicester down the right hand side. James Justin tries to go around Trossard. Trossard holds him up. Madison will pick up the ball and gives it back into the midfield to Soumare. Back to the halfway line to Johnny Evans. Brendan Rodgers won't be happy with that. You get the break of an early goal. You've got to keep it for the first 10 minutes at least.
Yeah, you have, and the only criticism that would be from that goal was James Justin just tucking inside.
Here's another chance. Iheanacho into the penalty area, found by Daka. Good recovery by Lewis Dunk. And nothing fancy for the defender. He just rolls it out of play for a throw into Leicester. Attacking position for them. Down the right-hand side, they're about 5 yards from the corner flag that they attack. Iheanacho and March. Leicester in front after a minute. Brighton level inside 10 minutes. Here's the latest cross from the right-hand side that's overstruck. And Harvey Barnes will do very well to keep that in play, and he doesn't succeed in doing so. Throw into Brighton. Steve Sidwell
was just saying on the goal there, James Justin there just got attracted to Danny Welbeck. It was just on the shoulder of Ndidi. It was a great ball in from Gross, but that just allowed Trossard in the edge of the box just to get his head up and pick out Solly March with a great cross, a teasing cross. He heads it across, and I think it does come off Thomas into the back of the net.
It's a brilliant delivery from Trossard, brilliant determination and hunger from Solly March, who you wouldn't have said was favoured to get to it as the ball was on its way in, but he wanted that more than anyone else. Trossard loses the ball here to Soumare. Madison is brought down by McAllister. Referee is going to call him back. He's reaching for his card, and it's another yellow. So joining Luke Thomas in the referee's notebook is the Argentinian Alexis McAllister, who's been in a good run of form lately. 2 goals in his last 3 games. Been a bright start here, not just the goals. It's all happening at 100 miles an hour at the Amex.
It's an excellent start, and it was a game that was due goals, with Leicester coming out on the front foot. Brighton looking to get back to winning ways after a disappointing result against Fulham midweek.
I've been told it is the second fastest goal in the Premier League this season, that opener from Iheanacho. Only Bobby De Cordova-Reid has scored quicker in the Fulham against Brentford game last month. So 1-1 here. Possession with Robert Sanchez, the Spanish goalkeeper. 4th time he's played against Leicester in the Premier League. He's not been able to keep a clean sheet in any of them so far. He's decked out all in orange away to our left-hand side, and he will take this goal kick. Both managers wearing smart, dark suits today, both with the jackets on on what is a warm day. Both with shoes so polished you could see your face in the reflection on them. As Pascal Gross jumps to the halfway line, brave from Luke Thomas to nudge it forward, but it's fallen from McAllister here, and Brighton regained possession. Brought over the halfway line by Adam Webster. On to Trossard, cutting in off the left wing, low to the feet of McAllister in the middle. He encourages Joel Veltman to come over the halfway line. Brighton onto March on the right-hand side, whose first touch brings Pascal Gross into a crossing position. He whips one in, low and powerful, cleared away by Soumare. Was that a foul by Solly March? It looked it. Play on, says the referee. March then goes down, bounces back up to his feet again, and keeps the ball alive for Brighton. Good determination to get to the byline by Solly March. Now he's going to need some support. Thomas is in to nick it off him, and Leicester tried to clear it away, but they haven't been able to do so yet. Welbeck is in to help. March gets involved again, 3rd time in the move, hangs in the cross. Welbeck at the back post, can only head it down, and it bounces off the turf and into the arms of Danny Ward. That's very good from Solly March. A real commitment. We mentioned how he had the hunger of the goal. He looks a player fired up for this game today.
Great desire there from Solly March. Cut inside, got knocked off the ball. He got straight back up to win it. Good link-up play with Gross down this right-hand side, and was able to pick out a cross on his weaker right foot to the far post. So it looks like an area there looking to exploit against his Leicester team.
Thomas into Madison on the halfway line. One back for Brighton by Mwepu. who's accelerated into a bit of speed here, but he's going to get into the penalty area, lays it off, Caicedo, 2-1 Brighton! Leicester, who had the perfect start, have given it all away, and Brendan Rodgers' team are crumbling inside quarter of an hour. The goal from Moises Caicedo. It's only his second ever in the Premier League. How have Leicester ended up in this position? From 1-0 up, they trail 2-1. We're only just reaching the quarter-hour mark.
It's such a poor goal to concede from a Leicester point of view. Maddison gives the ball around the halfway line, and Mwepu just drives at the heart of the Leicester defence, and Evans just drops deeper and deeper and deeper. No one engages Mwepu. All he's got to do is just wait that pass into the path of Caicedo, who calmly has a touch and puts it in the back of the net. It's a fantastic goal from a Brighton point of view, but very, very poor from Leicester City.
It's a super surge from Mwepu, the way he went through the gears there and got into full pelt, but not a single challenge on him from the halfway line till he gets to the edge of the penalty area, and then he was unselfish and he just flicked it to his right hand side, knowing that Caicedo would have a better chance of scoring. It still needed finishing. He tucked it into the bottom corner. 2-1 Brighton lead.
I mean, Johnny Evans there was in a very difficult position, because he has to drop and retreat to a point, but then he has to try and engage. But if he engages too early, the pass is easily out wide to Caicedo. He tried to wait and delay as long as he could, but it was great play from Mwepu. The timing and weight of pass and the detail of the pass just for Caicedo just to take a touch and whip it in the far corner. A fantastic response from Brighton.
Brighton, who went behind for the first time in the Premier League this season in midweek and ended up losing at Fulham. They were very good last season at coming back, great resolve. They picked up 14 points last season from losing positions. Just to put it in context, only 2 other Premier League teams had picked up more points last season from being behind. So Graham Potter, who, as we know, is very into his man management, and he's instilled in this team not to let the heads drop. And it can be hard when you concede inside a minute, but this is how you respond. And 2-1 up already.
Just from another point of view there, from a Leicester point of view, from scoring, sometimes in games you can score too early. It sounds mad to say that, and fans out there might say, how can you say that? But it does, because it knocks the game plan that you've got out the window, because automatically you just tend to drop 5-10 yards, and that allows space for the Brighton players to pick up and get their head up and pick passes.
Yeah, and Leicester, who came in, fired up, pumped up, scored early, and then thought, well, job's done. And they've switched off defensively, fair enough once, but they've switched off twice inside 15 minutes. Brendan Rodgers, who's already had his say of how dissatisfied he is, he said Leicester are not the club they were. Well, what's he going to think now? Could get worse. Here comes Pascal Gross down the right-hand side. He's had such a good start to the season and to this game. Not his best cross there, straight to Johnny Evans, who's able to clear away it. Tielemans will come from midway inside his own half, up towards the halfway line. Maddison, careless touch. They've given it away again. Gross into Welbeck. He's taken down by Maddison. Free kick to Brighton just outside the penalty area, and another unforced error. Leicester are landing themselves in trouble time and time again.
It's another real sloppy pass from Maddison in the central areas, where Brighton take full advantage. Just looks like he's just lacking of confidence at the moment, James Maddison. We know what quality he can possess, especially from them wide areas, but 2 sloppy passes in the middle of the pitch, you can get punished at this level.
Great atmosphere in here now. Brighton fans who were given the sinking feeling of conceding that opening goal, but that has just made the 2 that have followed in quick succession even sweeter. Danny Ward, the Welsh international goalkeeper, has come across to the post to his left, and he's checked out that this wall is in the right position. It's a 3-man wall. It's a long way. It would take some strike from here. However, McAllister and March are both giving it the full intent. Bang slam in the centre of the pitch. Here it comes. McAllister clips the top of that 3-man wall. Then he does well to flick on the ricochet. Solly March gets it back and plays it to Gross on the right-hand side. Just about keeping it in play. Tries a Cruyff turn, and Thomas has seen that before and makes the block. Throw into Brighton, Hove Albion down the right-hand side. They lead 2-1. Now it's been a very lively game so far here on 5 Live. Steve Sidwell.
It's the trademark Cruyff there from Pascal Gross. He does one, he normally follows up with another, but I think defenders are reading him now. He's got to try and put a cross in after the first one.
Throw-in's going to be taken by Solly March, close to the corner flag that Brighton attack, good distance on that. Falling backwards as he received it was Danny Welbeck, but he couldn't control it. The loose ball pops into the grasp of goalkeeper Danny Ward. So, right at the start of this game, we brought you the opening lap of the Dutch Grand Prix. How have things settled down there? Jack Nicholls.
Max Verstappen continues to lead, 2.5 seconds ahead of Charles Leclerc at the moment, but the big fight is in Carlos Sainz in third in the Ferrari, under pressure from Lewis Hamilton. Hamilton having a storming run in the Mercedes. He's on the medium tyres, Sainz is on the softs. We're sort of entering a pit stop window now as well, but Verstappen, broadly speaking, is in control in the early stages.
Thanks very much to Jack. Coverage continues right now on Sports Extra. We've reached the 20-minute mark at the Amex Stadium. Brighton having been behind, leading Leicester by 2-1. And Brendan Rodgers has got that little notepad out, and he's clicked the top of the pen, and he's been furiously, I think is the right word to use, furiously scribbling down some thoughts.
I mean, if your side go a goal up in the first minute, you'd expect them to consolidate and just carry on the game plan as usual, but they've capitulated.
Solly March into the penalty area. Pascal Gross pulls it back. This is Welbeck, turns, blocked by Ndidi. Brighton still might have a chance here. Johnny Evans goes down. He challenged for a header and he picked up a clash of heads, I think, with Caicedo, and that will be a delay in play while Johnny Evans, the Northern Ireland international, the new Leicester captain, appointed after the departure of Kasper Schmeichel, will get some treatment, and players from both sides needing treatment after the knock there with Caicedo as well. Colo Touré now in conversation with Brendan Rodgers down below us. Our commentary position here for 5 Live at the Amex is right behind the dugouts, and Brendan Rodgers now springs to his feet, comes to the touchline, and he's going to have a little mini team talk here to try and get to the bottom as to how his team have gone 1-0 up and suddenly finding themselves so quickly 2-1 down. Both Caicedo and Evans still lying flat on their backs.
I think they're trying to resolve a resolution about down this right-hand side for Brighton. Leicester's left-hand side. There's a lot of play coming down this right-hand side. Pascal Gross, Solly March linking up very well, sort of overpowering, outnumbering the Leicester players down this side. I think he's saying on the right-hand side of Leicester for Maddison to tuck in, to push Tielemans over and Simere over as well, and try and deal with that at the moment, because they're just getting outnumbered all over the pitch.
So the players who've been down are back up on their feet, both looking a little bit groggy. Important protocols to be followed these days with any head injuries, of course, but it would appear that both Johnny Evans and Moses Caicedo, scorer of Brighton's second goal, will be okay to carry on.
It was great defending there, wasn't it, Connor? It seemed when the ball dropped to Danny Welbeck in the area, it seemed that he had an eternity of time to try and pick a shot. All of a sudden a Leicester body threw himself at it, and then when it ricocheted in the air, Johnny Evans, very brave, and come out, and Caicedo, the clash of heads. Sometimes they could be nasty ones, but they're both on the pitch.
Yeah, it was Ndidi who made the block for the Welbeck shot, and Johnny Evans who will always put his body on the line, bearing the brunt of that clash of heads. But play back underway, both teams with 11 on the pitch. Leicester 2-1 behind away at the Amex. Here is Johnny Evans with the bright yellow boots, rolling it to his right hand side to Wilfred Ndidi. And no Soyuncu today, not on the bench, and Fess, the new signing, isn't eligible, I believe, yet to be involved. So they're quite light in terms of central defensive options. And Daniel Amarty could come in, and we've seen him play centre half in the past for Leicester, but that would be the choice. Evans has it again inside the centre circle, and again gives it short to Ndidi.
You do feel like with Ndidi, who is at the back, you lose that bite, you lose that tenacious sort of element to Leicester in that central midfield that they so badly need at this time.
Thomas to Evans, and back to Ward once again, and pressure being summed up by the confidence of Brighton and Hove Albion here. Leicester beginning to find themselves a little bit penned in. If you're joining our coverage late here, it was an exhilarating start to the match, and here comes Harvey Barnes trying to get onto a through ball. Good recovery by Veltman, and Veltman was pushed by Barnes, and it's going to be a free kick to Brighton just outside their own penalty area. But Iheanacho scoring inside a minute. Solly March playing it off Luke Thomas, perhaps an own goal for the left back for 1-1. That was within 10 minutes, and then within 5 minutes of that, Brighton had got themselves in front. Caicedo with a breakaway goal. So Graham Potter, who has trusted in the main the bulk of his players, that 8 to 9 of them have started all the games so far, and they do look a force to be reckoned with when they come forward. The interchange of passes inside the opponent's half has been very, very good this season from Potter's team. Here is Solly March in behind Harvey Barnes, veering infield off the right wing, now pushing in front of Gross. Strong challenge, Luke Thomas. Good tackle from the left back, puts it out for a throw into Brighton.
Again, it's down this right hand side. They're dealing with it so well, Brighton. Even Veltman's just staying behind and letting Solly March and Pascal Gross run riot. Danny Welbeck is staying in the box trying to pin Johnny Evans and saying to Pascal Gross, look, get crosses in. If you get the quality of cross in, I'll deal with that.
If it stays like this, it will be 5 straight defeats in the league for Leicester. Thomas clears it away, left-footed up over the halfway line, but out of play. Throw into Brighton, who remain inside their opponent's half. Match of the day tonight, match of the day 2, 10:30 on BBC One. 3 goals already here for those highlights. It will also feature the best of the action from Manchester United against Arsenal, which kicks off at 4:30, a game that you can listen to live here on 5 Live. Thomas clears it away again for Leicester, but they're struggling to fully clear the lines, and it just ends up going out of play inside their own half. And with coverage of the US Open tennis all the way from Flushing Meadows, you can listen on 5 Live Sports Extra and the BBC website. 6:06 coming up this evening with Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton as well, to get involved and have your say on all the weekend's football action. Much to discuss. This is Maddison from midway inside his own half, playing it back to Danny Ward. 2-1 to Brighton. Thomas at left back into Tielemans, no room to manoeuvre. Soumare, nice footwork to buy a little second of time and space, and Maddison then tries to spin one over the top. It's the kind of pass we see him regularly play for Jamie Vardy, but Iheanacho can't quite get onto that, and it bounces through to Robert Sanchez.
Well, it's a good run from Iheanacho. You know, it's very easy to keep coming short, especially when Maddison's got the ball. He's got that ability to find you, but you want to spread and stretch that Brighton defence. If he makes that run, maybe Daka can come in short and receive the ball. So just trying to stretch his Brighton defence as much as they can, but what a response from Brighton they've done. It's very easy for them to try and be anxious and get the ball from back to front as quick as they can, but no, they took their time and played through the thirds and deservedly have gone 2-1 up.
Yep, no shortage of entertainment. First time in 2 years that there's been 3 goals in the opening quarter of an hour of a Premier League game. McAllister has possession near the centre circle. Veltman appears to have lots of room. They're so afraid of March and Gross that they're sitting deep on that side, and Veltman always seems to have space. Here is Solly March trying to hold off the energetic Luke Thomas. March does well to feed it infield to Pascal Gross, now across to Webster. Webster floats it back out to March, controls in his upper thigh, tries to come infield to Thomas, might fancy one here, but it's high and not so handsome. Well off target in the end from Solly March. But Brighton continuing to play the better football as we reach the 28th minute.
Well, again, it's down this right hand side, and Solly March has been such a bright spark for Brighton, linking up with Pascal Gross. You think it would be happening on the right hand side of the pitch, where Maddison is getting sucked in too much, but
mistake by Danny Ward, and Danny Welbeck will try to capitalise, and his shot ends up on the roof of the net. So Ward having an argument now with Ndidi. They made a right mess of trying to clear that away. Danny Welbeck got an opportunity. The angle was tight. He lobbed it high over the goalkeeper, Danny Ward, but it ended up on the roof of the net. The back pass from Ndidi. Ward took too long, and that was close to being 3-1 Brighton.
Well, there was nothing wrong with the back pass to Ward from Ndidi. It was just a bad touch from Ward. It skipped up. Danny Welbeck was lively. He got onto it. I think what Ward is saying to Ndidi is, pass forward, don't turn back, you've got time to get forward, pass it forward. He's had a real shaky start though, hasn't he, Ward, to this game?
Oh, looks of disgust between the defender Ndidi and the goalkeeper Danny Ward. They're each blaming each other for that. And if you watch Match of the Day last night, you'll have seen one of Ivan Toney's goals where he just delicately chipped it into the net. That's what Danny Welbeck was trying to do, however the angle was much tighter. It was a more difficult execution and it ended up on the roof of the net. Here comes Webster on a charge down the left for Brighton, who are full of confidence now. They know they're on top, and I think Brighton beginning to feel that they could get a third goal here ahead of half-time that might almost put the game to bed. Dunk on the halfway line, short to McAllister. How it has all changed and changed utterly for Leicester. FA Cup winners 2 seasons ago. They won the Community Shield at the start of last season. All these little statements to show what a big club they were now, how they were ready to challenge the big boys. And now big names have departed, and even with the fortune of an early goal here, it's all crumbled for Brendan Rodgers' side. Here come Brighton again. Here's Pascal Gross. Good save by the goalkeeper, Ward. Not sure it would have counted anyway. Gross might well have been offside, but Ward wasn't to know. Spread his body well, made a good save.
Pascal Gross has been absolutely sensational in his 30 minutes. He's picking up a position where he's really teasing the Leicester back line and the midfield. But Harvey Barnes has to tuck in, and Thomas is tucking as well, leaving a Solly March wide on the right-hand side, and he's just allowing to get free of space, and the link-up play with Welbeck there, the 1-2. He tried to lift it over Ward, just didn't come off that way, but intelligent play from Pascal Gross. The positions that he's picking up, excellent.
He does look really, really good, doesn't he? 5 goals, 2 assists in 8 Premier League appearances before today. His stats have been right up there with some of the best players in the Premier League, as Iheanacho tries to run into the penalty area but runs into little Alexis McAllister, who stands firm and wins the ball back for Brighton and Hove Albion. It's just disorientated for Leicester. They look uncertain. Brighton come forward again. Solly March down the right. This has been a very fruitful avenue of attack, and Graham Potter's team continue to use it. March back to the halfway line to Lewis Dunk. He'll spread it out to the left to Leandro Trossard. Now to the edge of the penalty area. Caicedo back to Trossard. Challenged by Madison. Ball goes out of play. Throw into Brighton. 2-1 it remains.
Yeah, they're moving the ball so quickly and efficiently, Brighton, moving this Leicester team from one side of the pitch to another. We're just waiting for a gap to open up to really exploit.
Feldman back to Robert Sanchez. Now Dunk again. No high press from Leicester. Brighton able to bring it unchallenged to the halfway line.
You can see again the position that Pascal Gross picks up. He really plays inside on the shoulder of Thomas. He draws him and Harvey Barnes in and leaves that.
And Daka could be in here. It's a great direct ball forward. Patson, Daka's in! It's 2-2 from absolutely nothing. Leicester equalise. Daka sets up for a gymnastic roll of somersaults. That was made look so easy. A ball played, was it inside his own half by Tielemans? He just looked up. He played it 40-50 yards over Dunk. Well controlled by Daka, who took it so calmly. And we've been criticising the Leicester City defence, but Brighton will not be happy how they've given this away. Well taken by Daka, but a game that seemed to be slipping away from Brendan Rodgers' team, they've been gifted away back into it.
Well, as soon as that ball hit the back of the net, I looked at the Brighton bench, and Graham Potter turned away in absolute disgust, shaking his head. Far too easy for Leicester to get him behind. It was like the Leicester of old. As soon as they got the ball in midfield, the Drinkwater to Vardy combination. Tielemans didn't even look up. He just got the ball, one straight pass over Dunk. But what a finish from Daka. Took a touch and calmly put it past Sanchez.
2-2. We are averaging a goal every 7 or 8 minutes at the moment, Steve. Where is this going to end up? It's very enjoyable.
It's great entertainment, isn't it? It was poor from Brighton. It was a crossfield ball, wasn't it, that got cut out. But Tielemans, when he picked up the ball, he just had a glimpse of Daka making a run in behind Dunk, and it was the straightest ball. So easy to defend. Dunk switched on too late. Before you knew it, an excellent touch from Daka, and such a cool, calm finish past Sanchez. It really was.
2-2, still a quarter of an hour to go to half-time. Earlier on, you said, Steve, when Leicester have had their lead and Brighton made it 2-1, and you said sometimes in a game you can score too early. I wonder if sometimes in a game can you go 2-1 up too early. Tielemans is fouled inside. He's got a brilliant ball from Tielemans, showing his class. We were speaking about him in the build-up to the game. Leicester have lost some big names, but they must be pleased to hold on to him. Let's nip back for the latest of the Dutch Grand Prix with Jack Nicholls.
Lewis Hamilton is leading, George Russell is in second place, but they are yet to make a pit stop, the Mercedes team. They're going on a very different strategy to those around. Verstappen has pitted, he's running in third, but that's the net lead of the Grand Prix with Leclerc in fourth. There was disaster for Ferrari at the pit stop for Carlos Sainz. They forgot to bring a tyre out, so they had to wait 10 seconds while the mechanic ran inside and grabbed it. So they've lost a lot of places, but Hamilton and Russell lead.
Thank you, Jack. You can listen to full coverage of that right now on Sports Extra. Here at the Amex, it's been a thriller. 2-2 already. And a throw into Brighton. Down the left-hand side is taken by Trossard. Tried to find Welbeck. Loose ball here picked up by McAllister. Veltman's available on the right-hand side. Brighton playing from left to right as we look down. The blue and white stripes. Leicester in their change kit. Black with the green trim. McAllister is taken down by Tielemans. Tielemans points to the ball. Says he got that. Referee says he got too much of the man. And that is a free kick, 10 yards outside the penalty area in a central position.
You just feel like with 10 minutes remaining in his first half, Brendan Rodgers will be desperate for his Leicester side just to get control of this game. Whether that's with the ball in possession or even out of possession, you can still control the game out of possession just by being in a real good shape and showing Brighton where you want the ball to go. Ideally around the sides. If the ball comes into the box, then you defend with your lives.
Free kick to Brighton. And McAllister is leaning over this, bending on his haunches like a golfer lining up a putt.
Similar position as last time, wasn't it, Connor?
Yeah, the last time it clipped the wall. This time, Gross rolls it to the right-hand side to Solly March, who's enjoyed his battles with Thomas today, but Thomas wins this one. A sliding tackle that goes out for a corner. Corner to Brighton on the right-hand side, 9 minutes to go to the break.
He gets a high five there from, I think it was from Ndidi. Great defending there, 1v1, Thomas on March.
So Patson Daka on his first start to the Premier League this season, getting that second goal for Leicester. He's now played against Brighton twice, he's scored in each of those games. Pascal Gross prepares to take this corner from the right-hand side. It's a really good delivery. Nearly fell for Webster, does fall for Dunk. His shot is blocked, and eventually Tielemans gets it away. Anywhere will do for Leicester after a bit of pinball inside the penalty area. Gross picks it up wide on the right-hand side. Into Mwepu, who cleverly leaves it for Veltman. Good sliding challenge by Soumare. No doubting the commitment from both teams at the moment now. Every 50-50 ball has been ruthlessly challenged for. Dunk from the halfway line under pressure. Plays it back to Sanchez. Tielemans' assist, his first of the Premier League this season, and maybe that's been one of the missing pieces for Leicester this campaign. They will hope that this is the first of many assisting passes from the Belgian Yuri Tielemans. Here comes another Belgian, Leandro Trossard for Brighton. Onto Mwepu, who's had some lovely little layoffs today. He's almost playing in that number 10 role in behind Welbeck. They play it to his fleet and he just flicks it on and finds teammates. He's looked really good today, Mwepu.
The link-up play between all of the midfield. They're all in and around 10 yards of each other. They know whether to take one touch or two touch. Flicks round the corner, 1-2, pass and goes. Just as we see here, Cancelo driving forward. Mwepu, plenty of energy, plenty of enthusiasm in this Brighton side.
It's another corner to Brighton. And for your coverage laid, Leicester led inside a minute, Brighton led after a quarter of an hour, and now it's 2-2 after Daka's equaliser for the visitors. So crowded 6-yard box awaits the delivery. Gross stands over it, waits for the indication from the referee. Here he comes, right-footed in swinger. Ward misses it, and for a moment that could have got anywhere. It flashes through and goes out for another corner, so it must have had a little touch from the keeper on the way. Corner to Brighton, and Gross makes the run from one corner flag to the other to take it.
It's a great ball. It's on the button. Is it right on the 6-yard box? Ward comes out, makes the decision, just gets a fingertip.
So Gross prepares to take it. Brighton are lined up in a straight line, trying to shield. It's played in towards Welbeck. Good header away. Falls to Cancelo, and he doesn't catch it right at all, and he's put it way off target, and that is going to be a goal kick to Leicester.
You just feel like there could be a goal on any attack, any corner. any link-up play in this game from Leicester or Brighton. It's really open for both teams here.
Last time both teams in a Premier League match scored twice in the first half of the game was in April. Chelsea against Arsenal, you might remember that one. This does feel in the balance. It feels it could go either way. It could be a kickstart to Leicester's season, sitting bottom of the table as they are, or, mind you, it could be another nail in the coffin in what seems to be very testing times of the club. And for Brighton, having had a wonderful start, they were disappointed to lose in midweek. Today's the day they're looking to bounce back. They have bounced back from being behind already, but they've not been able to hold on to the lead that they had. Tielemans into Ndidi. Some very established professionals in this Leicester City team, and I'm sure their egos as much as anything will have been bruised by the disappointing start to the campaign that they've had. And in a World Cup year, so many of these want to impress. Here is Ndidi bringing it out from the back, short to Maddison. Now Johnny Evans. Brighton, right from the get-go today, are not making it easy for Leicester to come forward. If Leicester get as far as the halfway line, they have earned it. They've had to beat a man to get there. Throw in for Thomas, still inside his own half. Manchester United against Arsenal coming up at 4:30. We'll have more build-up to that during half-time in this game. Thomas takes his time over the throw-in. Flicked on by Soumare. Header from McAllister is going to go out of play for a throw-in to Leicester just down in front of us. So 28 points from 14 Premier League games since April for Brighton. If you were to tally the back end of last season together with the start of this, only Manchester City, Tottenham and Liverpool have had more points than Graham Potter's team in that period. Tielemans, good ball. Maddison. His volley's forward, which hasn't happened often in the game. Comes back in. Shot from Harvey Barnes is saved by Sanchez. He had power on it, but it's saved by the Spanish goalkeeper. Leicester have got into the penalty area on only 2 or 3 occasions in the match, but they've nearly scored in all of them. Maddison again back to Soumare. Brighton been forced to sit a little bit deep, which hasn't happened often in the game. 41 minutes on the stadium clock. Maddison challenged by Caicedo. Referee says advantage. Thomas down to Harvey Barnes, and he takes on Veltman. Veltman's got a touch, but he hasn't been able to clear it away. Barnes picks it up again on the byline, and then surrounded by defenders, he relinquishes possession. Brighton tried to launch a counter-attack, but the pass in front of Welbeck bounces out for a throw. That was a really good chance for Harvey Barnes, and in this ding-dong game, Harvey Barnes nearly gave Leicester the lead again.
It was a great chance, wasn't it? It was the first time Maddison's kind of picked the ball up in the final third for Leicester. He tried to play out wide to Justin. It ricocheted and fell into the path of Harvey Barnes, and a snapshot went for power more than goal and straight down the face.
It's another break for Brighton. Leicester are thin at the back. Welbeck beaten by Ndidi though. It was 4-on-3. An important challenge by Wilfred Ndidi, and Leicester should be able to clear the ball away. It feels certain that there will be more goals in this game. Such has been the open nature of it. Ndidi midway inside his own half. Patson Daka to James Justin. Maddison just still inside Leicester territory. Back to Wilfred Ndidi once again. Sun covering 2/3 of the pitch here today at the Amex. It's 2 o'clock kickoff in the Premier League on 5 Live. Johnny Evans, left-footed, tries to get in around the back of Veltman. Looking for Harvey Barnes, the Dutch defender does well. Fourth official has brought out the board and getting ready to tell us what's going to be added on for stoppages at the end of this first half. Heavy touch from Soumare is giving the ball away. Here's Iheanacho, late challenge from Welbeck there off the ball, and he's slowly getting back to his feet. Justin plays in front of Iheanacho down the right-hand side. Here is Maddison to the byline, low cross too close to the goalkeeper. Easy pickings for Robert Sanchez.
One of the first times Maddison's got to the byline from a Leicester point of view. He needs to be in that attacking third more. We've seen Brendan Rodgers in previous games come out and just say his team's just lacking in confidence, lacking in craft and guile to really create chances, but the 2 that they've created today, they've certainly been clinical. And you look at a Brighton point of view, they played well this first half, and the 2 errors that really they've caused themselves, Leicester have scored from.
2-2 it remains. Daka stretches to make an interception. He won't hold on to the ball, but he's sent Brighton back to the edge of their own penalty area. So Iheanacho's opener, followed by the own goal from Thomas, followed by the breakaway goal by Caicedo, followed by Daka for 2-2. 4 goals inside 33 minutes. Dunk to Veltman. Both managers standing out on the edge of their technical areas will be deciding on what to come up with in their half-time team talks. Both, I'm sure, will have positives. I mean, they've each scored 2 goals, but there'll be a few questions asked as well by the coaches as Gross gets onto a cushion down header by Welbeck. Nice little flick from Pascal Gross to Mwepu, and now Trossard will cross from the left. Welbeck was backpedaling. Solly March with a header, but it's wide. He got it down, but wide of the target to the right-hand side. Goal kick to Leicester.
Well, as much as Gross has been sensational in his first half, so has Danny Welbeck from a Brighton point of view as well. He's occupying the 2 centre-halves of Leicester and Evans and Ndidi so well. He's playing literally in between the 2 of them, and both of them don't know where to mark. One to go and attack the ball, one to drop off, and then it's about the second balls. Is it going to be Gross? Is it going to be Mwepu getting on there, getting on the second balls, playing out wide, and then about the delivery coming into the box?
We've moved into stoppages. 3 minutes to be added on ahead of the break. Thomas with a firm header, controlled by Iheanacho, looked to be leaning into by Veltman on Iheanacho, but the referee said it was a fair challenge. Solly March clears it away. Maddison has a sniff here, up against Trossard, puts pressure on the Belgian. He's done well, Maddison. He's been one of Leicester's best players this season, and he's challenged by Caicedo, and the ball is won back by Brighton once again. But for a team that aren't doing particularly well, James Maddison has picked up his good form from last season. 6 goals in his last 8 Premier League games. If you go back to the back end of the last campaign, here's another ball over the top. Welbeck's onto this one. Good control with his right leg. Support available from March on the right-hand side. Shielding the ball from Thomas. Swivelling and playing it back in towards the penalty area. Mwepu back out to the lively Solly March again. He makes a burst for the byline. Around Tielemans. Poor cross though. Straight to Johnny Evans. Evans doesn't clear it. Gross down for Caicedo. And he tries the half volley and he puts it over the top. Difficult technique. He had to adjust his feet late on. He went for power. He couldn't keep the shot down.
Again, it all stems from Danny Welbeck with that running behind and the lack of communication from the 2 centre-halves of Leicester. Gross is always going to be there to back up. You feel when it fell to him, he could maybe take it on his chest and drive into the box, but no, decided to lay it off.
From the neutral point of view, it's been wonderful entertainment this first half. I would imagine if you're a supporter of either of these teams, you'll have a few wrinkles across your forehead as you try to figure out exactly how the positives can be swung to outweigh the negatives. But in some respects, they've been as good and as bad as each other.
Exactly that, Connor. From an attacking point of view, both teams have been sensational. Defensively, errors, you could pick out the bones on all the goals that we've probably seen. I'm sure this first half now will just play its way out to a draw, and both teams will look to go and get a breather at half-time.
Leicester are the fewest away clean sheets of all the Premier League teams last season. Only one of the last 29 Premier League away games now, if you stretch back even further than that. And they've conceded twice, but they have scored twice. On the bulk of things, Brighton have had more possession, more territory, but with Iheanacho and Daka, Leicester have looked very dangerous in the counter, as they are here. Iheanacho skips away from Dunk, but across sweeps Veltman from right back to make a good challenge on him. As the whistle blows for the break, 4 goals. We've been thoroughly entertained. Defensive errors on both sides, but some brilliant finishing from both teams too. Opening goal inside the opening 60 seconds. We've had own goals. We've had so much drama. Let's hope for more, Steve Sidwell.
Well, it was a great start, was it, from Leicester? Just what Brendan Rodgers would have wanted. Good link-up play from Daka and Iheanacho. And all of a sudden, a great response from Brighton as well. Deservedly got themselves into the lead. But a sloppy second goal to concede. I'm sure full of more entertainment in this second half.
It's been a great start to Premier League Sunday. We look forward to the second half. But for now, Brighton 2, Leicester 2.
Steve, who's happier, do you think, at half-time?
Oh, I think Brendan Rodgers will be going in happier at 2-2 because his side looked to be on the ropes. I mean, Brighton, they played so good in that first half. They played really, really well. Just 2 mistakes, a sloppy start from them where they didn't really touch the ball, but they gave the ball away in the middle of the park and got punished. And then the second goal was also a mistake. So you look at both teams going in there, they look to grab a breather, to consolidate, look at the positives and where they can maybe correct them in the second half.
you can't overstate the importance of that second goal for Leicester, because having gone in front in the position they're in, to concede twice so quickly and not make your opposition work that hard to score those goals, that could have crushed them, that.
Yeah, definitely. They just need to sort of control this game. They're not having much possession in terms of controlling it, but out of possession as well. They're getting stretched from one side of the pitch to the other. Danny Welbeck is playing so well in between them two centre halves and occupying them. Pascal Gross is causing Harvey Barnes and Thomas down the left-hand side all sorts of problem by tucking in and picking up little pockets. They don't know whether to mark Pascal Gross or go and mark Solly March out wide. So Brighton have been terrific in that terms of a game plan. They've been clinical in their chances when they've been creating them. So there's going to be definitely more goals in this second half for sure.
Steve Sidwell, Conor McNamara, thank you very much. Brighton 2, Leicester 2. Brilliant first half at the Amex. I am now here inside Old Trafford ahead of Manchester United versus Arsenal. We're going to speak to our correspondent John Murray very shortly, bringing you full commentary at 4:30. Right now on 5 Sports Extra, there's full commentary of the Dutch Grand Prix. Jack Nicholls.
Max Verstappen is leading, 9.4 seconds ahead of Charles Leclerc. Hamilton has just overtaken Sergio Perez. He's up into third place, and he's got a shot at taking second from the Ferrari of Leclerc. So fight on for second, but Verstappen leading the way.
Jack, thank you very much indeed. Right, we will tell you everything you need to know about our 4:30 commentary. Huge game for Manchester United and Arsenal after the latest news on 5 Live with Matthew Butt.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Liz Truss has promised to set out an immediate package of support for people struggling to pay their energy bills if she's named as the new Prime Minister later this week. The Foreign Secretary, who's widely tipped to beat Rishi Sunak in the Conservative leadership race, told the BBC she'd announce her plans within a week, but declined to give further details. Germany is to spend more than £50 billion supporting people who are struggling with the cost of energy. The new scheme will help businesses and give extra payments to pensioners, students and people on benefits. Police in Liverpool have arrested 2 men in connection with the murder of 9-year-old Olivia Pratt-Cobell. She was shot in her own home in the city last month. And a 13-year-old boy who died at a beach race meeting in County Kerry has been named as Jack de Bromhead. He's the son of the horse trainer Henry de Bromhead. It's understood he fell from his mount while participating in the race at Glenby.
This is a message for parents whose child is going away to university. To prevent excessive moping, as you wistfully contemplate the pottery elephant they made in Year 3 and wonder, when will I hear from them? We suggest getting them a TV licence. Then they'll be covered to watch or stream live TV on any channel or device and watch BBC iPlayer, so they can still enjoy the shows you love to watch together. And who knows, they might even send the odd message when something dramatic happens. Have something in common. Search TV Licence Uni.
More live Premier League football than anyone else.
5 Live's Premier League Sunday
with Steve Crossman.
The Dutch Grand Prix live on 5 Sports Extra right now. It's Brighton 2, Leicester 2, half-time in our first commentary game. And we're now here inside Old Trafford ahead of Manchester United against Arsenal in the Premier League as well. Correspondent John Murray is with us. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I can tell you that we have this just in the last few minutes from our reporter Simon Stone. The Premier League will review yesterday's controversial VAR decisions at Chelsea and Newcastle with the PGMOL as a matter of priority. Thoughts?
Well, that clearly has come from the Premier League. Such an outcry following the 3 o'clock matches yesterday afternoon and the 12:30 game as well, and all of the various issues that were involved. I think so strong has it been this time after that set of matches yesterday that I think there was a feeling that that in inverted commas something had to be done. So this is clearly what they're going to do, and you know, let's hope we get to a point whereby there is clearer thinking on this, and the route ahead and the way ahead and how it is going to be implemented becomes very much clearer and very much better. As I've always said, with this, it is going to be a long period of time. This is going to be a long haul with VAR before we get to the point, which we will, you know, I'm really confident of that. We will get to the point where we do have a better system and a better way of officiating this game, not just here but all over the world as well. But that will take time. You know, it'll probably take decades before it's refined and refined and refined. And I think it is a very good point. I was listening to you and the rest of the guys earlier on in the programme, I think it is something where you do have to find specialists in this. You have to find specialists, and there's no reason, as we have now Mike Dean, who's doing this all of the time, but he's just started doing this on a permanent basis. But I think experienced former referees who are beyond the age where they can referee, presumably they can still be VAR operatives if they want to do that. But I think also perhaps a wider collective approach as well. And I think all of the various bodies that use VAR need to work together, UEFA at the top of that and FIFA as well, to try and get to that point more quickly where it is as it should be.
Well, that's enough VAR for now until there's a controversial decision in the second half at Brighton, and then we'll get straight back to it, no doubt. But we're inside Old Trafford, and what a fascinating game we've got ahead of us, John.
Haven't we just? And it's a very different place now, a very different club to how it was, 5 minutes ago when I came here for the last home match against Liverpool, when everything seemed doom and gloom, and no one was predicting that Manchester United would get anything out of that match against Liverpool. But they did, and I'm thinking back as well to that clearance off the line in the Manchester United-Liverpool game, which was extremely fortuitous when Bruno Fernandes sliced it, hit Martinez on the line and cleared away. If that had gone in, I think we might be looking at a very different scenario. But they've gone on and won 3 matches. Everything looks different. They've brought in, millions and millions and millions of pounds worth of talent in Casemiro. I wonder whether he'll start today. And obviously Anthony, who I think is the man on the name on the lips of all of the Manchester United supporters coming here today. And fascinatingly from an Arsenal point of view, they come here having won all of their matches this season.
Yeah, every time, John, that I make a comment about Manchester City and how amazing they look and, is there any hope that we'll have any sort of title race this season, I think of you, and I think of you shaking your head. Because look at Arsenal, they're top of the league. They've won every game so far this season, and, maybe they deserve a bit more respect than I've given them.
Yeah, and I saw them last weekend against Fulham. That's the first time I'd seen them live, and I was impressed. And Odegaard, looks every bit the star that he was predicted to be as a teenager. The team news is important today because I feel they need him. The new captain, he is a doubt, but I believe he has trained. Likewise Ramsdale as well, the goalkeeper, who's obviously an important figure too. So we'll find out if they're going to be involved. But injuries are hitting. They are missing Partey in midfield. Zinchenko's out, El Neni as well. But yeah, really good start. And there's a completely different feel around Arsenal Football Club, as I know from having been there last weekend.
Favourite Brazilian in the Premier League? I'm sure you heard us discussing this earlier.
I did hear that. Favourite Brazilian in the Premier League? I'm influenced by the fact that you said Juninho. So, he was delightful, wasn't he? And, delight to watch and a delight to be around as well. But a little bit like Jason Bird, I do think back immediately when you talk about Brazilians. I also think, having grown up in the northeast, when Newcastle signed Mirandinha, and I know it's beyond your remit talking about somebody who was Brazilian and played in this country before 1992, but that was an absolute sensation when Newcastle signed Mirandinha, and that was at a time when Brazilians in the game here was a real rarity, and now clearly the evidence of the last 30 years shows that it's commonplace now.
Yeah, absolutely. And, just outside Old Trafford today, I saw quite a few Brazilian shirts. People walking into the stadium. The reason we were talking about this earlier, for those that didn't hear, Anthony, if he plays at all today, will become the 100th Brazilian to play in the Premier League and the 101st Brazilian to play in English football. They bring so much to the game. And there's loads of them. And actually, there might have been another one had Arsenal done the business they wanted to do on transfer deadline day, because they were obviously very interested in Douglas Luiz as well. So I do wonder whether that, I don't want to say failure, but it's the strength in depth if Arsenal really want to push this season, isn't it?
Probably, and obviously this is the biggest challenge that they've faced so far this season as well, with the matches that they've had. Started really well against Crystal Palace, which was a tickly sort of fixture, but they'd come up short against Bournemouth and against Brentford in the first match of last season, if you remember. So they were ready for it this time. They've had Leicester, Fulham and Aston Villa at home, won those games, won 3-0 at Bournemouth. So now against what is a slightly different prospect in Manchester United, that's what makes this such an interesting test for for Arsenal.
Izzy Christensen will be with myself and John here inside Old Trafford. 4:30 kickoff, full commentary coming your way. A couple of other stories for you. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain and Naby Keita have been left out of Liverpool's Champions League squad. They're both injured, obviously, but that decision means they won't be able to play in the group stage. Liverpool's opening Champions League game is away in Napoli Wednesday night, a game you'll be able to hear live on 5 Live Sport. We're also bringing you Rangers in Amsterdam, and we are also bringing you Celtic versus Real Madrid. Already today in the Championship, Lucas João scored twice on his birthday against Stoke to maintain Reading's perfect Championship home record. They beat Alex Neil's side 2-1. Reading move up to second in the table, which means they go above Sheffield United, who travel to Hull City. Mike Maine.
Yeah, they do indeed. Just a renewed sense of optimism around Hull ahead of kick-off here. The owner wants to send a message to the world. 20,000 fans he wants inside the stadium. Whether he gets that, there's still a few empty seats. But considering when I came here back in February, when he was unveiled, Anthony Lachelle, as the new Hull City owner, it was sparse, it was downbeat here. Now it does feel different. The Sheffield United fans in full voice away in the corner. They've been moved from behind the goal over to the far side. In terms of changes, 3 for Hull as we get underway. Coyle, Tufan and Woods come in for Christie, Longman and Cannon. Sheffield United, why would they change the side that battered Reading on Tuesday night? 4-0. They remain unchanged. They can go above Reading and above Norwich to the top of the Championship with a win here at the MKM Stadium this afternoon.
Do you think, Mike, the story for both of these teams at the minute isn't about who they brought in during the transfer window? It's who they didn't lose. You know, the fact that Hull kept Jacob Greaves, who is their captain, and Sheffield United holding on to Sander Berge.
Yeah, absolutely a key man in the midfield for them. And you know, Paul Heckingbottom knows the squad he's got. This is a good squad, a Championship winning squad, as Hull City look for an early break here. Ball's going to deflect away to Sheffield United's goalkeeper Wes Fotheringham. You're right, in terms of they both got good squads, good competitive squads. They didn't necessarily need to add to that. I think the managers recognise that. I know Hull brought in a couple of loan signings on deadline day. Neither actually feature in the squad at all today from Chelsea. And for Sheffield United, as they look to compete at the top of the Championship, you can't afford to lose your key players, and that's exactly what they've managed to avoid.
Mike, thank you for the time being. So Michael, keep us up to date on Hull Sheffield United. They've just got underway, and they're just getting underway in the game between struggling Huddersfield Town and Blackpool as well. Let's get an update from the Dutch Grand Prix live right now on 5 Sports Extra. Jack Nichols.
Lap 47 of 72. Max Verstappen leads, but Lewis Hamilton and George Russell have made their one and only pit stop, and they're now running in 2nd and 3rd places. Charles Leclerc is 4th in the Ferrari. He started in 2nd, was quite close to Verstappen in the early stages, but is now 4th. Has no more pit stops to make, but he's got to close the gap to the Mercedes drivers in front if he wants to finish even on the podium. So some more backwards movements from Ferrari over the course of this Grand Prix. 47 to 72, full commentary on Sports Extra.
Just reminded me to say as well that Lewis Hamilton dropped a couple of hints about perhaps becoming involved in an ownership capacity here at Old Trafford in the last few days. Of course, he talked about it with Chelsea as well. I wonder if that story will develop. We shall see. The story of the day here is Manchester United versus Arsenal, coming up in full at 4:30 on Premier League Sunday. Full commentary from here once we're done at Brighton. Changes, Conor McNamara.
Yes, change for Leicester. Timothy Castagna is coming on, and he will replace Harvey Barnes, so that's a wing back for a winger. So we'll have a look at how exactly that changes the lineup for Brendan Rodgers after a first half here featuring 4 goals, 2 apiece, and the second one for Leicester, the Patson Daka goal, that was a bolt from the blue. I think if it hadn't been for that, we would be very critical of Leicester's performance today. That has papered over some cracks, and it has turned this into a game that could still go in either direction. Back underway at the start of the second period, same 11 on the pitch. For Brighton, Sanchez the goalkeeper, Veltman, Duncan, Webster the back 3, Solly March on the right hand side, Trossard on the left, Casido, McAllister, Mwepu in the middle, Gross and Welbeck, the 2 up top. Welbeck operating as a central striker with Gross off him to the right hand side. Cushioned header down here by Lewis Dunk, swivel by Adam Webster, sends it down that left channel. Ndidi hooks away for Leicester, but it's picked up by Brighton once again. Casido into central position to McAllister. The passing has been good from Brighton today. So where is Castagna going to play? It's a back 5. He's gone left wing back, and it looks like Thomas part of a back 3.
Yeah, that's how it looks like. I think that's maybe to deal with.
Good one by Webster. goes down, challenged by Tielemans, free kick to Brighton.
I was going to say it could be a switch to deal with Welbeck, who's running right up top and dealing with them two centre-halves. Maybe just allowing an outlet down the left-hand side for Leicester when they have the ball. Because Harvey Barnes, although defensively he tried as hard as he could, he got found in positions where he's probably not really used to and found it hard to get on the ball and influence in the attack.
And at the moment, both Thomas and Castagna, as Leicester prepared to defend this free kick, are deep in conversation. In the first half, Solly March, Pascal Gross, they overloaded down that right-hand side and provided a lot of delivery, and that's why Brendan Rodgers has brought on Castagna now to shore things up in that position, also allowed Thomas help in the middle, as Steve's been mentioning on Welbeck. Here's the free kick, taken by Gross into the busy penalty area. Mwepu tried the bicycle kick. McAllister! Thunderbolt to the top corner! That is a sweet strike from the Argentinian. It's his third goal in his last 4 games. And as the old cliche goes, when you hit them like that, they stay hit. 5-goal thriller. We had a goal right at the start of this game. We've had a goal right at the start of the second. Oh, he's nearly raised the net off the ground. Brilliant hit from McAllister. Brighton 3, Leicester 2.
You could have Schmeichel back in there in goal with Ward and he still wouldn't save it. What a strike that is. It was a poor ball from Pascal Gross of the free kick. Justin Thomas, I think, heads it clear, and he's just bouncing out to McAllister on the edge of the box with no one around him. And it's one of them ones where it just bubbles up just as you hit it with the lasers, and it stayed hit it, and it flew into the top corner. What a strike. When he hit it and it went in the back of the net, Veltman was behind him, and he sunk to his knees. Is it to say, oh my gosh?
Now, speaking of oh my gosh, it has been one of the topics of the weekend. We haven't restarted, and one of the best strikes I've seen in many a season might be ruled out for a possible offside. If it is, it's nothing to do with McAllister. It's when the ball initially comes in and it's headed out towards McAllister, but he does his pile driver. Were Brighton offside in the build-up? Oh dear, that can of worms is not going away. A weekend dominated by VAR, and we are all looking at the big purple screens.
Well, the ball that comes in from Pascal Gross, it goes into the area where there's Webster, who's just behind Thomas, it looks like. If Thomas leaves it, it goes onto Webster's head, but because it's such a poor delivery, it falls to Thomas, who does head it clear. I mean, it looks like Welbeck and Webster is in an offside position there from when Pascal Gross is about to take the free kick. It'd be such a shame to chalk this goal off.
We wait. And under the scrutiny, the video assistant referees will be taking extra care. Chris Kavanagh and Mark Scholes, so the people in Stockley Park watching the monitors. As the ball comes in, clearly there are Brighton players in behind the last defender. Do they get involved? Position, we keep seeing the angle here as a freeze frame. I wonder if they try to find any other altercation, which is often what happens in these instances. The boos are long and loud, as you can expect, because Brighton fans here who've just witnessed one of the, the glorious moments in football, the smack shot from outside the area right into the top corner, and they really do not want to see this ruled out for any circumstance. There is great scrutiny going on here. It's obviously not just a offside or not. They're trying to work out something else, because otherwise I can't believe they would take this long. It is going to be one of these armpit shoulder blade moments. Deary me. There's only 2 games in Match of the Day 2 tonight. They're going to have a long time to talk about this. This isn't going to stand. Oh dear, it's a beautiful goal, Steve. It's going to be chalked out because of a minute, tiny squiggly line on the screen.
I can't believe that's chalked out. I can see that there's players in an offside position from a Brighton point of view, but it's so many bodies in there, you can't tell me this. It's clear and obvious.
Now, Brendan Rodgers, and remember, it's his team who've just conceded. He's got his hands in his head. He's going, what? Referee's coming across to have a look. Now, usually when the decision is offside, that's cut and dry. They don't ask the referee to come and look, because you're either on or you're off, is the theory. In this case, Tony Harrington, who I have to say, he even looked at, he was like, okay, it's a good goal, and he knows this is going to be controversial now. He said anguish on his face that it's come to look. Mwepu threw his body in the air trying to connect to a bicycle kick. You've got all this, was it a high boot, all that kind of question as well, I guess. But Tony Harrington's come across, and he's now peering onto the screen and having a look at these replays. The boos, the dins, VAR dominating another Premier League fixture.
I think offside.
No goal. Offside. McAllister, who could not have hit it any sweeter, gets the goal chalked off. Back to 2-2. We have not heard the end of this.
I think that's what it comes down to. The freeze frame that we can see from this press box is Mwepu in an offside. He is in an offside position, and when that ball goes in, does he interfere with Justin clearing it? He tried to do an overhead kick, so he's near the ball. He feels like he can get contact onto the ball. He is in an offside position, but it is the finest of margins.
And this, I think this is a really good example, and we've had so many of them. And of course, every goal ruled out is different. No two are exact carbon copies. What's particularly galling in this instance is the quality of the strike. Now, it shouldn't matter. If it's a bundled in tap-in, you're either onside or you're offside. It's because it's such a beautiful strike, and because it's obviously this minuscule of a distance, that the passion of the football fan begins to wonder if that's the right thing. These are the problems, but the officials, I guess, can't legislate for that romance. Their job was the guy in an offside position? Did he interfere in play? But I don't think anyone likes it. The moment that goal is scored, you want to celebrate the moment of the goal. What you don't want to see is the big purple screens. It's a problem. It's a conundrum.
Kind of what's thrown me in that scenario there on the replay is that we can see Mwepu in an offside line, but it's not clear and obvious where the Leicester City defender is there. The two lines that come up, we can see there's a fine margin between them, but you can't tell me whether that's the Leicester City's shoulder or knee or foot. We just don't know that. That for me is not clear and obvious.
The one other comment I'd have on VAR, and obviously it's been so widely discussed this weekend, and I was thinking this in the car to the Amex today. Obviously people watching Match of the Day, they don't show on Match of the Day the goals that are disallowed correct, the non-controversial one, the one that VAR gets that's stonewall correct. Those don't get pondered, those don't get analysed. The only ones we look at over and over again are the ones that are dubious, and they're not necessarily the majority. But it's damned if you do and damned if you don't at the moment. But there's no doubt it's a hot topic, and there's no doubt that there's more fuel on those flames being added here, and as I've illustrated, all added because of the quality. I mean, McAllister, the rest of his career, he'll never hit a strike better than that again. No. Brilliant strike. However, it might as well have been ballooned into the crowd. It was such a sweet strike, it really was, and as you said, it was just bobbling up as just before he hit it, and as soon as he struck it, it flew away from Ward. There was a little bit of curve on the strike that took it away from Ward, and it went straight into the top corner. Veltman was behind it. He dropped to his knees. He couldn't believe it. He looked at the skies as if to say, did that really happen? Brighton 2, Leicester 2, VAR 1. The current state of play at the Amex. Tielemans, short ball to James Justin. Can Leicester harness the energy of that let-off? Good ball into the penalty area. Iheanacho couldn't trap it. Looked to be nicely placed for him. He wasn't able to get a touch, and then it wouldn't fall for Daka either behind him. Mwepu's unable to keep the ball in play, and Leicester take the throw in quickly. Indeed, he's upset with Justin there, thinking, come on, let it roll into your path. Don't stop it, don't come backwards. Indeed, he's trying to show a bit of leadership for Leicester here. 2-2 on 5 Live. Indeed, he scoops it over the top down the right-hand side. Justin rides the challenge well, but he's deemed to a foul, McAllister. And that is going to be a free kick. Free kick to Brighton, left full-back position for them. Really interesting now how Brighton react from that, because not only from the fans' point of view, but from the players as well, they feel really hard done by there. The players were furious. Lewis Dunk stormed over to the referee and couldn't believe it was disallowed. I think the referee even gave him an explanation, Tony Harrington, of why it was disallowed, but he still was furious around it. So these next 5 minutes now, they need to keep calm, keep composed, and keep playing their football and keep playing into this game. I don't think we've seen the end of the drama here just yet. 3:15 on a Sunday afternoon. 10 minutes played in the second half of the Amex. Brighton 2, Leicester 2. Sanchez clearance goes high over the halfway line, but high over Trossard and directly out for a throw-in to Leicester. In moments like that, Steve, it must unsettle players on the pitch. You're playing well, you score a brilliant goal, it gets chalked off. it's a test of the mind power now, that the strength of character of these Brighton players to not let a blow like that affect them.
I think more so as well, just because of the strike, as you said, Conor. If that goal would have just been bundled in and had been disallowed, I think you can half accept that. But when it was such a sweet strike, you just don't want it being seen taken off of a teammate.
Iheanacho's touch on towards Daka, nearly got there, Veltman with a very important touch. Daka sprints after it, puts pressure on Sanchez, who clears away into the sunshine on the far side. Header won by Castagna, but actually he's caused a problem here. He's given it away, and Welbeck to the edge of the area. Castagna was so intent on keeping the ball in play, he didn't realise he was going to give it to Brighton. Gross shoots, edge of the box, comes off the upper body of Johnny Evans, the screaming handball. Don't think so. Hands were by his side. I'm not even sure it hits his hands, but even if they did, they're by his side. As Ward clears it away, and it's loud and it's noisy and it's frantic at the Amex. 2-2. Both teams believe they can win it. McAllister comes forward now, midway inside the Leicester half. Low to the feet of Mwepu, who leaves it for Trossard, and Justin did just enough to put him off, and it rolls through to Danny Ward. Excellent game, albeit controversial.
It's end-to-end, isn't it, Conor? It's great play from Brighton again. The link-up play, the runners off the ball, the numbers that they have going forward.
Sanchez clears away with his boot. Trossard flicks on the header near the halfway line. Soumare gets it back down on the deck for Leicester. Leicester in the change strip, all black, wearing the green trim and playing from left to right as we look down.
Just looking at the subs on the left-hand side, Conor, none of them are warming up. They're just so glued to this match. It really is entertaining.
Doesn't that just sum it up? They're trying to do a few stretches, but they find themselves just being engrossed by what's happening here on the pitch. As Castagna takes it down on his chest to the far side, and that little hesitation pounced upon by Joel Veltman, and the ball goes out of play for a throw-in to Brighton. 2-2, 57 minutes on the clock. Leicester, having lost 4 on the bounce coming into this, need a reaction today. Lewis Dunk will come up to the halfway line. Rolls to his right-hand side to Joel Veltman, with Manchester United against Arsenal commentary coming up on 5 Live at the end of this game at the Amex. Arsenal, 100% record, the only team to sit in that lofty position after these opening weeks of the Premier League season. Veltman again. Left-footed ball towards the edge of the penalty area, controlled by Mwepu. He gives it back to Pascal Gross, midway inside the Leicester half. He'll turn and roll it back to Lewis Dunk. Some space on the left-hand side. Adam Webster comes forward. It's his 250th appearance of his league career. Webster loses it on the edge of the Leicester box. Iheanacho trying to run his way out, helped by Daka. There's a back heel by Maddison. Down goes Daka, foul by Mwepu. Free kick to Leicester inside their own half.
Defensively, Leicester looks so much more compact in this 5-3-2 formation, making it hard for Brighton to go through the middle. They're trying to make them play around the outsides, and then when they retrieve the ball, it's about that quality in attack.
So 2-2 here with the hour mark approaching. Let's nip back to the Dutch Grand Prix for a latest from Jack Nicholls.
Well, Mercedes are now running first and second. Lewis Hamilton ahead of George Russell. There's a safety car because Valtteri Bottas broke down. Max Verstappen pitted from the lead, so he's now in 3rd place. So Mercedes are running 1-2 on the road. Verstappen needs to overtake them on track if he wants to win his home Grand Prix.
Thanks very much to Jack Nicholls. Coverage continues right now on Sports Extra. That will be followed by US Open tennis later on. Here in the Premier League, it's been an intriguing 2 p.m. kickoff. Brighton 2, Leicester 2. And McAllister has possession near the halfway line. Didn't need to look, he knew Trossard had loads of space, but he's not given a great pass, and it's easily picked off by James Justin. He plays it forward. Iheanacho's on the deck. Now something's happened off the ball there, I didn't see that. I think he's collided with McAllister. Anyway, play continues. I think that was just an innocent coming together, because both players have given each other a little high five in the aftermath. That was just innocent running into each other. This is Mwepu down the left-hand side, gets to the byline. Under pressure from Ndidi, he'll roll it back to Caicedo, scorer of Brighton's 2nd goal today. Just joining our coverage on 5 Live, it's been thrill a minute. 2-2. Veltman, 10 yards outside the Leicester penalty area. Solly March rolls it back in field to Dunk. Brighton been using the width of the pitch very good today. Here's Trossard, controls with his back to goal to the edge here. What a brilliant ball to Mwepu in the box, shoots, saved by Ward in the front post. That was a magician's trick from Trossard to find Mwepu there, but did he take the right option? He's tried to shoot, tight angle of the near post, saved away by Danny Ward. Brighton continue on the attack. Webster lofts it in, very high. Thomas tangles with Welbeck. Loose ball comes down for Veltman, and he tries to dink one over the top that none of his teammates are on the wavelength of, and Danny Ward gratefully receives the ball. 2-2, Steve Sidwell.
Graham Potter applauding that attack there from Brighton, and rightly so, but Mwepu on this left-hand side, he has to square the ball. He's at such an acute angle. Ward comes out and closes the space. There's no room for him there to score. He has to go through his legs. Danny Welbeck wants to square pass to tap it in the empty net. It's the wrong decision from Mwepu. That stems from Justin though at the right back. He gets the ball under no pressure and he just moves the ball forward. They need to be brave under pressure here, Leicester. As usual, when they retain the possession, be brave, have 2 passes to get out of the Brighton attack, and then they can spring at Brighton's back line.
If you're just tuning away here, 2-2. Both teams have held the lead. Brighton thought they'd gone 3-2 up after a 4-minute 20-second VAR review. That goal was disallowed for offside, and you're going to hear a lot about this one. Here is Caicedo, left-hand side, right up against the touchline, gives it back to Trossard, back to Webster. Leicester did make one substitution at half-time, Castagna coming on for Barnes. And that attacking width that Harvey Barnes gives on the left-hand side has been not really replaced at all, and there's this wide open space there for Veltman every time he wants to come forward. The moment Daka and Iheanacho up top, Maddison, Tielemans in behind. This is Trossard taking on James Justin with a little swing of the hips. Justin recovers well, times his slide, puts the ball out of play for a throw into Brighton. Taken immediately by Trossard. Caicedo back to Dunk. Into the sunshine for Joel Veltman. Now Solly March, the bright green boots, up against Timothy Castagna. March cuts back on him, manages to smuggle it back to Joel Veltman in behind. Leicester are sitting very deep at the moment. This is Lewis Dunk, and he's midway inside the Leicester half.
They just need to have patience, Brighton. Play their way in, play through the thirds.
Caicedo to Trossard on the left. He's just inside the penalty area. Tried to chip in across. It was blocked away off James Justin, and Trossard sprints to the touchline to recover. Some games in the Championship as well today. Hull against Sheffield United. Mike Mane is at the NKM Stadium.
Sheffield United have taken the lead. Connor, Ollie McBurney with his 3rd goal in as many games. Nice play down the left. He got it on the edge of the penalty area. Shot. Goalkeeper beaten at his near post. I think it took McBurney by surprise. It's quietened down the bumper Hull crowd. But as it stands, the Blades are top of the Championship. 1-0 their lead.
Trossard scores for Brighton Hove Albion. Tight angle, left-hand side. He picks his spot into the bottom corner. Everyone looks nervously towards the big screen, but it's not turning purple yet. 2-2, Brighton praying that this one does count. Leandro Trossard's 2nd goal of the season. And you have to say, the pressure from Brighton, it has felt that one is coming. He's onside, surely.
Again, it's another great goal from Brighton in terms of their build-up. McAllister does ever so well. They win it back in the middle of the park, and he drives forward. He skips past Maddison and then skips past another challenge. Finds his way to Pascal Gross, and you know Pascal Gross is going to find a Brighton player in the box. He assists on a plate for Trossard. He has a quick glance up. He sees Ward shuffled over to his right-hand post, and he buries it with a little bit of whip into that far corner to give Brighton the lead.
It's an excellent finish. He scored against West Ham 3 games ago. That is the 20th goal that Leandro Trossard has ever scored in the Premier League. Took it so well. 3-2. This time it stands. 5-goal thriller at the Amex. Brighton, you know, we mentioned that the Daka goal felt a bit of a bolt from the blue. Brighton will feel they deserve this. Activity down below us in the Leicester technical area. Jamie Vardy is amongst those who looks like he's ready to come on. Is that Kieran Dewsbury Hall as well? He's taken off his tracksuit top. We'll keep an eye on that, but certainly Brendan Rodgers is about to make changes. It looks like a double swap. 3-2. Tielemans crosses from the right-hand side, and Daka did well to get in front of Dunk, but his shot whips just over the top right-hand corner.
Yeah, I think Tielemans was just looking to put it into an area down this right-hand side, and it's up to Daka then to get across Lewis Dunk, which he does so, just can't get enough purchase on the ball, and it goes high over Sanchez's bar. But going back to Brighton's goal there, the only way that they was going to break down that consolidation of Leicester's formation there was being explosive, and that was McAllister. He drove at the Leicester players, and when it finds himself to Pascal Gross, more often than not he can pick a player out. He's so calm in them situations, and he just linked it into Trossard and put it on his left foot where he's most clinical.
That was Leicester's first shot of the second half. 3-2 they trail here at the Amex Stadium, and Marty is going to come on, Dewsbury Hall, and I think Jamie Vardy, who's taken off his tracksuit but still sitting down. The other two are standing up, but it looks like it's going to be a triple change. I mean, what does Brendan Rodgers think here? He started today, I'm making the statement. Vardy's not starting. Dewsbury, this is the big statement. Now you're sort of making the statement to bring him on again. If they come on and play well, everyone's going to say, well, they should have started.
Everyone's part of the squad, Connor, and it's down to the subs now to come in and make an impact. It was down to the starting 11 at the start. They've done so, going a goal ahead. They've done very well. And it's gone Brighton's way. Now it's down to the players coming on. Can you make an impact on this pitch? Come on and make the difference. They certainly can with Vardy, Dewsbury Hall, the goals that they can score, the chances that they can create.
This couldn't have been a better start to the game for Leicester. Second fastest goal of the Premier League this season, but now they trail 3-2. Ndidi comes forward, intercepted by Trossard, scorer of the latest and fifth goal of the game. It's a lovely cushion by Mwepu. Been really impressed by him today. Now if Welbeck looks up, he's got support here from Gross. It wasn't a good enough pass. He should have played him in. Gross is battling on to keep the chance alive. He gives it to March. There's no one marking. Good save, Danny Ward. That was nearly 4-2. Leicester City are in disarray. Better pass from Welbeck there, it would have been 4-2.
He thought the chance was gone. The pass from Welbeck wasn't waiting enough. Pascal Gross had to wait. He drew in 3 or 4 Leicester players. He slipped it to Solly March, and it's down to him then to strike a cross goal, just like Trossard done a few moments before. They tried to go for power. It went straight down at Ward, who parried it wide.
And to be fair to Danny Ward, he's made 2 very good saves now in the last few minutes, but his team are behind. Gross with the corner from the left. Goalkeeper punches away. A firm right fist. Falls down to March. His shot is blocked. Leicester relieved to boot it away. McAllister on the halfway line now under pressure. Oh, he's got to be careful here as he fouled Daka. 2 players went down. Referee was very close to that. Tony Harrington had sprinted to keep up with play. He says no foul and play on.
I didn't see much in that myself.
Gross plays it forward. Brighton are getting in around the back of a tired-looking Leicester defence. You can see why Amarty's been prepared. Trossard on the byline, tries a little Ronaldinho, and he gets around Ndidi too, and he goes down in the box, and the referee points for a penalty. That's fantastic from Leandro Trossard. There looked to be nothing on there. He produces a little party piece. He goes around the defender who realises he's in trouble, drags him down. Penalty.
It's great play from Trossard. He's in the corner flag, but the explosiveness and the skill to get about Ndidi, and then Ndidi takes a swipe at his ankles. He's put onto his shirt the whole way. It's a definite penalty. Trossard was absolutely magnificent there. The skill, the explosiveness in front of this home crowd. The home fans are on their feet, they're loving it.
Older listeners will remember Redondo for Real Madrid at Old Trafford many years ago. Pulled off a little sort of party piece like that, I always remember. I mean, that's just cheeky. I mean, it's genius. But it's something you do in five-a-side. It's brilliant.
As much as it was good play from Trossard, and it was outstanding, it was poor defending from Ndidi. He kind of switches off and makes a sluggish return and attempt to win the ball, but just what Brendan Rodgers didn't want in terms of making a triple substitution now.
Leicester about to make the 3 changes, but after this penalty kick. And how ironic that it is Alexis McAllister stepping up, who's World-class strike earlier on was ruled out earlier on through no fault of his own. A brilliant goal to the top corner. He has scored penalties in 2 of his last 3 Premier League games. Brighton's number 10 steps up here. Short run-up, as the Argentinian likes to do. Up against Danny Ward. Right-footed, scores! Straight down the middle. It's the 6th goal of a quite remarkable afternoon of Premier League football. It is Brighton 4, Leicester 2. Leicester, as things stand, heading for a 5th straight Premier League defeat.
He keeps his cool, McAllister, doesn't he? Midweek against Fulham, he has a penalty, he puts it to the left-hand side with pace and power. This time he takes a breather, he waits for Ward to go and he curls it down the middle of the goal. Fantastic composure there from McAllister.
So now, having just got 2 goals behind, the substitutes come on. And Marty for Soumare, Vardy for Iheanacho and Kieran Dewsbury-Hall comes on too. Well, we confirm who's going off. It's Tielemans who comes up for him. So while they reorganise themselves here, let's go to Old Trafford. It'll be the venue for our 4:30 game today here on 5 Live. Manchester United against Arsenal. And John Murray has the team news.
And the news here at Old Trafford is the name of Anthony Mateus dos Santos is on the Manchester United team sheet. The newly signed Brazilian winger from Ajax, Anthony, comes straight in for his debut. He takes the place of Alanga, who's on the bench. That is the 1 United change, so Casemiro's the substitute again. 1 change for Arsenal as well too. Zinchenko returns for Tierney, and that will tell you that Odegaard and Ramsdale are both fit to play for Arsenal. They were doubtful.
Thank you very much, John. John will be with Izzy Christensen for full commentary from 4:30 of what has always been one of the eye-catching fixtures in the Premier League calendar. 2 old rivals, Manchester United and Arsenal. McAllister, whose goal has lengthened the Brighton lead, plays the ball forward, and Amati here under pressure from Mwepu gets it just about back to Danny Ward. Steve Sidwell's alongside him.
Brendan Rodgers will be furious for that penalty going in or being conceded at that time. The substitute that was lined up, Jamie Vardy was about to come on. It was the perfect time for him to come on and be introduced to this game, because Leicester City was sucked back in there, literally in their own 18-yard box, and it was just destined for a counter-attack to go on. It was pumping balls up to Daka or Iheanacho that couldn't really get hold of it or get him behind the Brighton defence, and it was crying out for Vardy to come on, but he's come on at a 2-goal deficit now.
Here's Maddison battling on for Leicester, for whom the alarm bells are ringing now. We are into September, this season that started earlier than any top-flight campaign in the history of English football has a worrying slant to it now, with Leicester firmly rooted to the bottom of the Premier League table. Indeed, who's moved into midfield since the arrival of Amati. Amati's playing with Evans, and Thomas is a back 3 now. Brendan Rodgers has got to go for it, but Brighton have been good. 4 goals they've scored, and this all after the shock of conceding inside the opening minute. Graham Potter's got to be very pleased with his team's reaction to that today. Free kick for a late challenge on Maddison, some 10 yards inside the Brighton half.
You talk about the mentality there of Brighton. We have to say kind of that there's been no panic as there at all from Brighton at any stage of this game, whether that's been going a goal down in the first moment to being pegged back to 2-2.
Here come Leicester down the left. Castagna has a look up, right-footed delivery, not picking out anybody. 3 teammates in the middle, but that has angled away from all of them, and in the end trickles and rolls and goes out for a goal kick. A rare attack for Leicester as Brendan Rodgers turns, head down, gets to his seat, plunges into it.
The ball there was, I think, was aimed at Maddison on the far post. He's saying there he wanted it drilled into him rather than floated, and he's walking back in despair. His reaction and his persona needs to change. He's sort of sulking on the pitch at the moment, but Leicester need him. He's the one that can get him back in this game with that touch of class that he possesses.
Brighton 4, Leicester 2. Still a long way to go. This is Sanchez at the back for Brighton. You just need cool heads now. Caicedo to Trossard. What a second half he's had. He's really come into the game. Ball in towards the feet of Danny Welbeck. veers around just on the edge of the penalty area, back heel from Trossard, who's just brimming with confidence. March tried to slip a ball through, cut out by Amartey, and Amartey puts it out for a throw-in, but everything's got a flash of flamboyance about it from Leandro Trossard now.
It's got a great flow to the attack, hasn't it, with Brighton? They pass and move, the intricate passing, they just seem to know each other's roles and game inside out. You can tell they work on it so much. I've watched Graham Potter's sessions before when I was working at Brighton, and everything's funneled into their attacks. And can they attack the goal as quick as they can?
This is Webster midway inside the Leicester City half. Leicester again sitting deep as they've been forced to do for much of this afternoon. Joel Veltman under pressure for now from Kieran Dewsbury Hall, spins around and rolls it back to Lewis Dunk. Brighton, who started the day in fourth, they would move up to within a point of Tottenham and Manchester City in second and third respectively. It would sum up a very good start to the new campaign from Graham Potter's team. You know, a lot of clubs bemoaning, and Leicester are one of them, about, you know, losing important players this summer and big names departing. Cucurella, Basuma, Mopé. You know, there's no whinging from Brighton.
No, there isn't, and they've replaced with quality as well. Casado's come in and done an outstanding job. Veltman, who's always been a 7 or 8 out of 10, has been here for a number of years as well. They go about their business nice and quiet, they just get on with it, and they're reaping the rewards at the moment.
Trossard just about keeping the ball in play, helped by Casado, back to Trossard. Brighton are enjoying themselves now. Into the penalty area, left-footed cross. It's going to sit up for McAllister. Everyone's urging him to shoot again, but he's smart. He lays it off to Mwepu. Now Casado. Brighton toying with Leicester a little bit here. Ticky-tack on the edge of the penalty area. Solly March onto Pascal Gross out on the right-hand side, and the fatigue is evident. I think as much as anything, that's why Brendan Rodgers made the 3 substitutes, because Leicester, having played on Thursday night, they look knackered.
They have been moved from pillar to post. Brighton have been excellent in possession, shifting the ball quick, efficiently. It's been so hard for these Leicester players. All they can do is retreat and go into a low block.
Mwepu's been brilliant today. More fancy stuff from him. Now Pascal Gross fancies it, shoots and saved by Danny Ward. Good shot. The Welsh international puts it out for a corner. Gross has got in on the act today with the assists, but now he wants a goal of his own.
Picks the ball up on that inside channel. It's easy for him to slip Solly March in to get across, but he's got a great strike on him, Pascal Gross. Anything, it was just too straight down at the throat of Ward, who does well to parry it wide, but Brighton looks so full of energy and enjoying this spell now.
4-2 on 5 Live. Corner to Brighton. Pascal Gross to take. Short run up. Plays it in towards the front post where it's headed out by Jamie Vardy. Straight back out to Pascal Gross. Plenty time to weigh up his options. Decides to play it in left-footed. Blocked by Maddison, out for another Brighton corner. The clock ticks on. 12 minutes to go now.
The next goal was absolutely vital. Yeah, if Brighton score, you have to say that's game over. If Leicester get it back to 4-3, it really is game on.
So Gross, take 2. Very busy 6-yard box. They're not just up in the penalty area, they're right in on the toes of the goalkeeper. It's an in-swinger and headed away bravely by James Maddison. Out for corner number 3 in succession.
It's been an Achilles heel for Leicester, isn't it, this season and last season? Set pieces. Can they get first contact on the ball, throw bodies in front of it? They have to defend corners and free kicks better.
The league leaders Arsenal take on Manchester United at 4:30. That's coming off up on 5 Live as Ward drops this corner, but he's fortunate that it bounces back up into his grasp once again. Danny Ward rolls the ball out low to Luke Thomas, to Castagne on the left-hand side, and been so impressed by Brighton's pressing today. They've made it so difficult for Leicester in positions like that defending a corner, teams love to break. There's no way out.
High energy levels from Brighton, pressing as a team, working as units, not going in ones and twos. Pascal Gross has set an example there, as ever. He covers every blade of grass. Danny Welbeck has been sensational, and it just allows everyone, as a domino effect, to filter on and back him up now. Look, it's gone back to Ward.
Well, that sums up the game. Amartey, who had time and space, immediately Welbeck came sprinting over to him, And Amartey panicked. That's what he tried, a little drag back to himself. He fumbled out, he scampering around, he plays a bad backup pass, and Danny Ward puts it out for a corner. And that moment there sums up Leicester's game and Leicester's season.
It's hard there for a Leicester player in them situations, because you don't want to just smash the ball forward and concede possession again. You want to try and stay calm and try and play, but you need options. You need people to be brave and support. You have to try and play your way out of these situations. They're just not doing that.
Another corner delivery for Pascal Gross. He's had so much practice of these today. Here it comes towards that front post area, headed away by Johnny Evans. Solly March gives it back over to the left hand side from where the corner was taken, and Gross once again pushes it in front of Mwepu. Challenged by Maddison once and then twice. Mwepu's gone down in the box. I think it's a good tackle. Good tackle by James Maddison. It'll be a corner. Vio will look in the background. Verstappen, has he won the Grand Prix? Back to Jack Nicholls.
The checker flag falls. Verstappen wins again. Another dominant performance. The Dutch fans are elated, and Verstappen wins in the Netherlands.
Thanks very much, Jack. More reaction to that on 5 Live on the BBC Sport website. But 9 minutes to play here at the Amex Stadium. Another corner. And the VAR is still looking at this. Have they? Yes, they say no penalty. I mean, again now, I didn't see a single replay, but in real time, I thought that was a good challenge. A forceful one, but a good challenge.
It looked like a good tackle, yeah. You just never know with them attacking players. Maddison, he's not known for his defensive duties, but had to stick by his guns.
Yeah, we're not really sure of anything at the moment. In-swinger, Ward pushes it over the crossbar. Pascal Gross bending it in. And Danny Ward puts it out for another corner, and this one is going to be taken from the far side. But I think any challenge like that, any goal, we're all waiting now. Until play restarts, we don't actually know if it is a penalty, if it is a goal, if it, Gross gets standing ovation over there from Brighton Hove Albion players. He's had a wonderful start to the new season. So, latest in a very long string of Brighton corners. This is all eating into the clock, of course. Vardy heads away. He's come on to try and score goals, but he's mostly had to do defensive work so far, Jamie Vardy. If you weren't with us in the first half, Vardy dropped to the bench today. Brought on in the second half, but brought on when his team were already 4-2 down. Here is Caicedo, just outside the penalty area. Tries to play the ball in. We'll go to Hull in just a moment, but Brighton remaining on the attack here. Trossard towards the edge of the box. Flicked on by Caicedo is good. March tries to bring it with him. This time it is a goal kick. So we go to Hull against Sheffield United and Mike Mane.
Sheffield United leading 1-0, 4 minutes to half-time. Should be 1-1 though. Estupiñán through. He was one-on-one all the way from the halfway line. Gets into the box. First shot saved by Fotheringham. Second blocked on its way to goal. He really should have scored. Hull 0, Sheffield United 1.
Thanks very much, Mike. A change for Brighton. Enoch Mwepu goes off. He's played very well today, holding the ball up, feeding it to his teammates. Gets a big hug from Graham Potter. And on for a first Premier League start, Dennis Undov, German striker, top scorer in the Belgian league last season. He got 25 goals in Belgium. He was the Belgian League Player of the Year. And Brighton supporters have been looking forward to getting another glimpse of him. He's yet to start a Premier League game, but he's come on for what is his third substitute appearance so far in the top flight for Brighton.
They've let Neil Maupay go to Everton, knowing that they've got Danny Welbeck, but how much can they rely on him? His fitness levels over seasons. So they need reinforcements, and they've got that in Indav. He'll look to come in and have an immediate impact. The quicker he can get a goal and settle himself in a Brighton shirt, the better.
Yeah, Undov's one start in a Brighton shirt so far was in the League Cup, and he scored on that start against Forest Green last month. Clock ticking on. 6 minutes of normal time to play. 6 goals in the game. Brighton Hove Albion 4, Leicester 2. And you would need quite some time to explain everything that has happened in this game. There has been a lot of incident, but the bottom line and the headline that's going to come out of this is that Brighton are going to remain in the top 4. Their really good start to the season is going to continue if it stays like this, and Leicester are staying bottom, even though they tried to rally an effort there. And Daka shot it straight at Sanchez and he holds it, but they need 3 goals if they're going to win this today. Leicester will end up staying bottom, and it's going to be testing times. What does Brendan Rodgers say after his quite critical comments in the week, not just of the team but of the club? What does he say now?
It's all about picking your players up now. It's been a very difficult start to the season for them. when you are low and you need picking up all the time, it's very, very difficult. It just seems they need something to go from. They need a game or a result just to fall in their place. But for that, you need to work hard as well. You have to do the hard yards, and they've done that to an aspect today, but not enough.
Nice layoff by Undav. Welbeck down the left-hand side, back into Caicedo. Here is Gross. They've done that so well today. Right to the chalk of the touchline one side, across the pitch to the chalk of the touchline on the other. And it's all putting miles on the clock for tired Leicester legs. Welbeck with his back to goal, gives it to Trossard, full of clever inventive ideas, scoops it up in the air. Welbeck swings the right boot at it, didn't get a clean connection. Brighton are banging on the door for goal number 5.
Real close, intricate play again in the Leicester box. It fell to Danny Welbeck, and he tried to go for power, and maybe just a cultured side foot would have been better.
Here they come again. McAllister again, shoots straight at the goalkeeper. Good run to the edge of the box, but tame effort in the end with his weaker left boot, saved by Danny Ward. In the Championship, Huddersfield, who are second bottom, have gone behind to Blackpool. That was a 3 o'clock start. They'll be approaching half-time there. Here Caicedo wins the ball off James Justin, who's very slow to get back to his feet, summing up the malaise, the despondent mood of Leicester at the moment. You fear for their morale after this. McAllister in the centre circle. Leicester look a beaten team.
They do now, and the game's just fallen into Brighton's hands. There's no need for them to get a second goal. They got a 2-goal cushion. Just wait for Leicester to come out and play around them, which they can do.
Well, here in the background, Brighton and Hove Albion supporters cheering every pass. Mind you, they won't cheer that one. McAllister's given it away to Dewsbury Hall. This is Vardy on the edge of the box. One back by Pascal Gross. Great work rate he's put in today. No pressure on Trossard as he brings it up towards the halfway line. Run through the middle from Solly March. Good turn. Disappointing shot. Turned Castagna, but team effort easily saved by Ward.
The game is so stretched now, isn't it, from Leicester trying to get a goal back, and it's easy pickings for Brighton to get shots on target. What, they had 3 shots on target in the last minute and a half?
Absolutely. I mean, he's not played many Premier League games for the club, Danny Ward, but today he's had to make more saves in a Premier League match than he's ever done in his Leicester career so far. Brighton are going to make a late change here. Leandro Trossard, who, well, he's been worth the entrance fee alone, as they used to say. Brilliant. I mean, full of inventive, thinking outside the box, gets the ball, and the defenders don't know what he's going to do with it. And he makes his way off to a standing ovation, and Estupiñán will come on, the Ecuadorian who started the last 2 games.
He's certainly a player that is playing at the top of his game. He's enjoying his game, and when you've got that, it's a dangerous combination. His link-up play, his vision, his awareness, his craft, his ability to set his team up for goals and finish off attacks as well. He's been absolutely outstanding today.
Brighton on their way towards victory. 2 minutes to go, and they've had to roll up their sleeves. They've had to get stuck in, particularly in the first half. This was a game much more in the balance, and Brighton have had to pick themselves up from disappointments, conceding the opening goal, leading 2-1, getting dragged back to 2-2. The disallowed of McAllister's goal, the rocket to the top corner, but none of those setbacks in any way took Brighton off their stride. They said, fine, no problem, pick themselves up, come again. And Leicester have just not been able to keep up with it. Vardy hustles for it inside the penalty area, but McAllister will clear away. Manchester United against Arsenal coming up very shortly here on 5 Live.
Just looking at the subs bench for Brighton, we have Billy Gilmour on. I'm not sure if he's going to get on or not, but you look at this team and you think the way that he plays, he just suits this team, and Brighton suit him as well. If he can get a chance, I'm sure he'll slot in fine. The way that they link up, they pass, they move, could be the platform that Billy Gilmour needs.
Brighton travel to Bournemouth on Saturday, then it's Crystal Palace here at home, the next home game the following weekend. Graham Potter's team will hope they can stay up in those Champions League positions for at least the next few weeks. It's going to be very entertaining watching how Brighton progress from this good start. Remember, they also had a very good start last season and ended up with the club's best ever finishing position. 7 minutes to be added on. I've enjoyed this game. I will take as much of this as they have to sell, Steve. I'll stay here all day. It's brilliant.
Yeah, they've been sensational, Brighton, and it's been an entertaining game, but Last season they've done very well. They had a little blip midway through, especially at home. Their home form, can they improve their home form? Away from home they've been superb last season, as they have so far this season as well. Just picking up points at home and being confident, which they've done today.
Gilmour is going to get his debut. Here's Estupiñán down the left-hand side, running at James Justin. Right-footed ball to the edge of the area. Nice layup from Gross. Caicedo back to Gross. Really is just for fun now for Brighton as they toy with Leicester. Caicedo hits it from the edge of the area. Up in the air from Ndidi. And Marty lunges for it. Ndidi stays down. Leicester get it away to Vardy, who's had no impact in the game since coming on. How could he? 4-2 down. This is Maddison on the break now. Turns a couple of times, looks for some space. Swarm of Brighton players around him, and Brighton are forced back again. Big cheer from the home fans. Stoppage time at the Amex. Gilmour about to come on. £9 million signing from Chelsea. Didn't work out for him on loan at Norwich, but we've seen evidence in the past what a good player he is. Vardy's offside. Castagna too, coming back from an offside position. Free kick to Brighton. Double change actually. Tariq Lamptey's going to come on as well as Gilmour. Two players with a Chelsea connection.
I haven't seen an awful lot of Leicester this season, Connor, but when you look at them, it just looks as though it's all off the cuff. There's no real structure or pattern of play, and it's very hard when you're low on confidence, which it seems like there is that in abundance, especially with the attacking players such as Maddison. Don't really see where the goals are going to come from, whether they're going to come from out wide or through the middle. Difficult times coming up, but as for Brighton, Caicedo's coming off, very well deserved. Rest for him now, he's been outstanding, and Billy Gilmour comes on.
Heroes all over the pitch for Brighton today. Billy Gilmour looking to reignite some of the hype that surrounded his early career when he shot through as a very young teenager at Chelsea. He's now got an excellent coach in Graham Potter to play under. Tariq Lamptey as well, who's yet to start a Premier League game this season, but he's now on for as a sub. 5 of the 6 games they've played. Another talented player at the disposal of Brighton and Hove Albion. Very well run club.
It just seems as though there's a good strength in depth now to Brighton. Look at the 2 subs that have come on there in Gilmour and Lamptey, on for Solly March and Caicedo. You feel as though if they can really get some victories and a run of form, that they can really achieve something this season.
And while Leicester lurk in the dark shadows, for Brighton the future looks very bright indeed. Marty at the back for Leicester. I was joking there, saying we could watch this all day. Leicester can't get out of here quick enough. This has ended up being another dismal afternoon. After the bright hope of scoring inside a minute, they've just not been good enough to keep it up. Thomas on the halfway line tries to play it forward, cut out by McAllister. And Ndidi, who started the game at centre half, moving into midfield. They've lacked his presence. You mentioned that earlier on, Stephen. Brendan Rodgers has got to find a way to get Ndidi regularly playing in the middle of the park.
Yeah, they've just lacked that little bit of bite, tenacity in the central areas, and more often than not, that's where games are won and lost. Also on the wide areas, then penetrates runs in behind. Haven't really troubled Brighton today, but when they have got in behind, for instance for the second goal, they've been excellent.
This is about to become Leicester City's worst start to a top-flight campaign in almost 40 years, and in the entire history of the football club, their second worst start ever. So you're going to hear a lot about Leicester in the coming days. It's not quite an overreaction, because this has been dismally bad from a team who seem to be going in such, all the positivity we're seeing about Brighton today. Well-run club, talented young players, excellent recruitment. These are things we've said about Leicester so often in recent years. But it's been a very funny transfer window for them. We're hearing very disconcerting comments from the manager. Fofana left under a real cloud. He had a bit to say about that too. These are not good times.
It's amazing how quickly you can fall in 18 months. Especially how Leicester have performed so well before that.
Welbeck has been scampering around like a kid today, goes off on another charge, taken down by Amarty, and wins the free kick 10 yards outside the penalty area. I don't know how many full 90 minutes we'll see out of Danny Welbeck this season, but Graham Potter's obviously looking at him here and saying, look, he's having the time of his life out there, just leave him on.
Amarty there having a real pop at Maddison. I'm sure that's going to continue into the dressing room after, but Lots to worry about for Leicester. It seems as though the players are not united at the moment.
We have played 5.5 minutes of the 7 that are due to be added on, so 90 seconds to go. And McAllister, from round about the spot where he struck his thunderbolt that was disallowed by VAR earlier, is now placing a free kick. Brighton have built their own 3-man wall in front of the Leicester 4-man wall. Can McAllister produce a bit of South African magic here to put the cherry on top on what is already a wonderful day for Brighton? And he's run up to the ball, Beckham-esque. It's almost 90 degrees from the direction from where he's going to want to hit it. Here he comes, swings the right boot, loads of whip. Spectacular! He wasn't to be denied. The footballing gods had deemed that today was a day Alexis McAllister would hit a beauty, and he's done it. That top corner belonged to him today, and when the first was disallowed, he shrugged off that disappointment to crack a free kick to the top corner. Unstoppable. 5-2. Brighton and Hove Albion cantering away with the game.
I was going to say, but I didn't want to jinx it before he took it. At least has to go in for him. It was in exactly the same position. He was cool and calm. He ran up to it, and the whip and the bend. Very, very similar to Beckham, as you said. The run up against Greece with the free kick. He whips it into the far corner. Fully deserved that today, McAllister. He's been sensational. Absolutely brilliant. And what a goal to top off a fantastic performance for Brighton.
It's going to be a good night tonight in Brighton and Hove, actually. 5-2. The manner of the performance, the quality of the goals, the execution. As the full-time whistle blows, and it was virtually the last kick of the game. It's Brighton's day, but the story might well be Leicester. 5 straight league defeats now for Brendan Rodgers. The alarm bells ringing loudly, still rooted to the bottom of the table. A worse run of form than when Claudio Ranieri was sacked in 2017. But for Brighton, it's only the second time they've beaten Leicester in the Premier League. Graham Potter's side have bounced back from their disappointing defeat at Fulham in midweek to get back on winning track today, and how they have done it. The manner today so impressive, Steve Sidwell.
An absolute 5-star performance from Brighton today. Superb from start to finish. You know, they deserved the victory here. A few mistakes that led to goals, but the mentality and the composure and the quality to get them out of it, and the clinicalness that go on the goals. As for Leicester, the players and the staff, they're walking off there, their heads are down. They need to stick together. They need to unite as quickly as possible.
Well, Steve Crosswell, we've spoken so much today about VAR. It has played a big part in this game, but it has not become the narrative. And although Alexis McAllister was denied a beautiful goal, the raw organic nature of football in the end has beaten the digital technology, if you like, because Alexis gets his top corner finish, and Brighton have beaten Leicester 5-2.
Yeah, Steve Sidwell, that's exactly the kind of line.